Greetings. This is Alan Weaver on my YouTube channel, where I usually talk about tarot, spirituality, and things like that. And the title of this video, when I post it, will most likely be something like The Three Ways of the Tarot. But more realistically, this is just three different ways that I've seen tarot used, and I kind of came up with this way of organizing those thoughts that might be fun for anyone interested in card work. So my disclaimer, I guess, is that it's not necessarily comprehensive. At the end, I'll mention a couple other avenues for thought or food for thought. And yeah, it's not novel or um, complete or um, as great as a title like that might lead one to think. But these three ways that I see tarot used, I'm going to use the High Priestess card, the Hierophant card, and the Magician card to illustrate these. But basically, uh, I see tarot used in spirituality in the more um, informal, esoteric sense, but also I've seen it used in a more um, mainstream religious type of way, more in the way of the Hierophant, and also magically. Um, so, again, I don't think that's such a novel idea, but let's start with the High Priestess. Now, these three ways of the tarot um, are illustrated by cards that actually in the Thoth tarot cross the abyss. So in the Tree of Life. So these are, it actually parallels spiritual workings of various kinds if you want to use that way of thinking. But most people consider the High Priestess um, to be involved with divination and tapping into intuition and going beyond the veil, as pictured in the Rider-Waite Smith card. And the path on the Tree of Life, um, her path is the longest one, straight down the middle way from the highest most peak all the way to the lowest most physical, from the most spiritual, maybe the crown chakra, so to speak, all the way down to the most material, most physical, most earthly. That's her path on the Tree of Life. And so in so doing, she crosses the abyss from the 1 to the 6, that heart center of the Tree of Life, the first pathway there. So going from the Kether, from the most spiritual, highest place on the Tree of Life, coming down, crossing the abyss into the 6s of tarot, and that heart area represented by the 6, that would be I think, the messages that come to her, these secrets on the half-hidden scroll here, the divination, the personal gnosis that many people receive by use of the tarot. Now, going the other way, back to Kether from the heart chakra, this would be more going from the more physical realm, or the more embodied realm, so to speak, below the abyss in that area. So it's kind of using mantra or meditation those kind of spiritual practices, perhaps to commune with deity, or to ascend back up across the abyss into that non-duality, into that um, higher self, or however you want to look at that. And so uh, I think we can think of ways to use tarot in that manner, uh, either for path working meditation uh, type avenue, or the more divinatory aspect. Now, I'm going to say the Hierophant is another possibility, and this card crosses the abyss from the twos to the fours of tarot, and um, this is the more formal, of course, the Hierophant. I'm just looking at this image. It's the more formal, revealed religion, um, formal prayer, and all those more organized aspects we're familiar with just from the Rider-Waite-Smith picture. And so, um, but I think this is another way tarot can be used, and certainly if you look at a book like the Christian Hermeticism Meditations on the Tarot, the big thick book. It's kind of the Christian approach to the tarot, but basically it's um, using the more formalized process of the revealed religious texts, which can also be found in the tarot, and without much forcing. And in fact, a lot of the imagery arises and meanings arise from such things, or using the cards for more formalized prayer. Um, and so I wanted to include that in ways to use the tarot as it is done um, in that manner. Now, the third way um, is illustrated by the magician. And on the Tree of Life, the magician is actually, the path is actually above the abyss, but it goes from the threes to the Kether to the one. And so, as we know, the magician is as above, so below. So he's bringing this will, using will through his magical workings and all of the represented elements, of course, his tools. And I think tarot can be used in this manner. It can act as a sigil for craft, to set intentions, to act as a sigil in spell work. Certainly, these images are used in magical workings. And going back to the non-duality of the Kether, that one, where all the aces and pure potential exist, even before the path of the Fool on the other side of the Tree of Life. Going back up that way, this is more the perhaps the use of magical workings to transform the self, to go deeper, rather than as below, so above. So perhaps using the cards in affirmations, in transforming the self. Certainly, I believe the cards are much used for that, journaling, and perhaps even dissolving the ego, releasing intentions, and maybe just bathing in the desire, in that non-duality. So I think the path can work both ways in the magical use of the tarot. Now the high magic might approach more towards the Hierophant, um, but it has elements of the magician as well. Um, this would be more the ceremonial, maybe formalized like Thelema. If you read Don Milo DeQuette's books or watch his videos, he'll talk about using the tarot um, as an altar in itself. And certainly the tarot can be used as the tools of the magician, um, from the high magic or all the way down to the lower quote magic of witchcraft and such. So um, those are the uh, three ways of the tarot in my way of thinking. Now, I say it's not exclusive because uh, there's other cards that cross the abyss. So once you start using this way of thinking, um, we know the chariot crosses the abyss from the threes of Bina. It crosses down to the fives. And the chariot in the Thoth tarot, we see the charioteer is carrying the grail full of that elixir or the sap, the pure sap, that blood of life. And so in Thelema, um, it's said the holy guardian angel that resides in Bina above the abyss, bringing to her the grail full, withholding not one drop. So um, I believe the cards probably could be used in this way. Now, the chariot, um, to make this fit, might take a little thinking, a little work, because I associate the chariot with as a vehicle. Um, so actual archetypal success in every realm, and that it kind of that I wrote a note here to remind me, um, kind of those peak experiences we can cultivate even in sports, and that flow of dance or other skillful activity, um, that I think this this kind of effortless effort, this kind of zen-like state that we can reach when at the highest peaks of success and experience. And so, how that would translate into using the tarot itself, um, maybe things such as the gaming and the way Tarocchi in Italy originally, um, and so were some of the earliest cards we know of, were used in playing games. And actually, we know of card games with um, standard playing cards. And of course, I do card tricks in which that I experience that flow and peak experience sometimes. And so maybe it's possible. Another card that crosses um, the abyss are the lovers, going from the threes again, and they to the heart, the sixes in the heart area there on the tree of life. And so perhaps tarot can be used for this kind of union, whether internal harmony or with others, but this archetypal energy um, that crosses the abyss again. Um, and certainly being in love, expressing love is one of the highest um, mystical experiences. And if you read a book um, like Sacred Sex by Gabby Herstick, um, there's certainly mystical, magical, sacred elements found in this card. And so perhaps the tarot can be used um, in these ways. Um, and again, um, on the other side of the tree of life, coming into the heart. Once upon a time, the emperor was said to represent that pathway on the tree of life, replaced later by the star. And so that kind of guidance, um, hope and faith, um, and all the things represented by the star card perhaps is also a way of using the tarot. So um, you could take this food for thought and run with it. I'm just applying the tree of life to actual ways to use the tarot cards. Many of these are quite familiar, and this is just one way to organize it. And so, just to bring it back in, the way of the High Priestess, the way of the Hierophant, and the way of the Magician, I think, are the classic ways that we do use the tarot. Thank you so much for listening, and take care.